With your latest news, I'm April Cummings. Travel Cayman says a system software error resulted in a traveler being permitted to quarantine at a residence that did not meet the approved criteria. They say the traveler's request to quarantine at a private residence was denied, and the traveler instead approved for a government-sponsored facility. But because of an error in the system, the traveler was taken to an unapproved quarantine address originally requested. Travel Cayman has investigated the matter and says software engineers are rectifying the issue. Additional verification protocols have now been put in place, and manual checks are being carried out in tandem. Travel Cayman says all residents at the dwelling have been tested, and public health has confirmed there is no cause for concern or risk of community transmission. The traveler, by the way, is due to complete their quarantine period today. The governor gets his second dose of the COVID-19 vaccine. His Excellency Governor Martin Roper, along with the Premier, the Health Minister, and the Chief Medical Officer, got their second Pfizer-BioNTech vaccine this morning. He continues to encourage everyone who currently qualifies to get the vaccine. So far, more than 7,000 people in Cayman have received the COVID-19 vaccine. And Mr. Roper says although vaccine supplies remain challenging across the world, the United Kingdom is committed to supplying Cayman with a, quote, proportionate amount of the vaccines they are procuring for the UK, according to our population size. Cayman's second batch of 10 to 11,000 doses arrived on the British Airways flight today. Chief Medical Officer Dr. John Lee reports 157 COVID-19 tests carried out since our last report on Wednesday. 2 were positive for COVID-19. As of our news deadline, the vaccination numbers to date had not yet been reported. Leader of the opposition, the Honorable Arden McLean, and elected member for Northside Ezard Miller say they have filed a motion of no confidence seeking to remove the Honorable Makiva Bush as Speaker of the Cayman Islands Parliament. The opposition leader says the motion comes after the Speaker was recently given a suspended custodial sentence for the assault of a female and the, quote, refusal of the unity government to take action against their colleague. Mr. McLean says it was hoped the Speaker would have, quote, done the honorable thing and resigned. Mr. Miller says he is saddened that the members of the unity government, especially the women MPs, have chosen to remain silent on the issue. Deputy Leader of the Opposition and MP for Newlands, Mr. Alva Sekou, meantime, announces he will contest the Cayman Islands general election in May as an independent candidate. Mr. Sekou was elected as the first representative for the Newlands constituency in May 2017 and says he maintained his independent status for the past 4 years while working as a member of the official opposition. Mr. Sekou will be running for a third consecutive term. Cayman Airways says the Civil Aviation's decision to lift airspace restriction for the Boeing 737 MAX 8 aircraft is yet another important milestone in steps to return its 2 grounded aircraft to service. Radio Cayman's Dion Anglin has more.
Cayman Airways officials say they have been implementing a comprehensive series of actions designed to comply with all the new regulatory requirements to safely return the aircraft to service. The national carrier says it was the first to announce the voluntary grounding of its Boeing 737-8 fleet in March of 2019 and at the same time made a decision not to return the aircraft to service until all of the world's major regulations had conducted full and independent recertifications. While that process was underway, Cayman Airways officials say they worked closely with the aircraft's manufacturer and the Civil Aviation Authority of the Cayman Islands, resulting in Cayman Airways and the CAACI being ultimately satisfied with the proposed changes to the aircraft's design, the training requirements, and the new operational procedures. Cayman Airways plans to return the aircraft model to service in the second half of February 2021 after completing the final series of steps needed to reintroduce the aircraft to service. Reporting for Radio Cayman News, I'm Dion Anglin.
Cayman Airways says it plans to release more details about its return to service plans, which will include various activities on Grand Cayman and Cayman Brac. As members of the Public Accounts Committee continue to question those involved with the Owen Roberts International Airport Redevelopment Project, the Chief Executive Officer of the Airports Authority and Chairman of the Redevelopment Project Steering Committee, Albert Anderson, is asked about lessons learned. During Wednesday's hearing, PAC member Austin Harris asked Mr. Anderson how future expansions will be carried out to ensure the same thing doesn't happen again.
What things would you do differently? And would you agree that a final outline business case should be the standard procedure when dealing with major capital works?
I think a number of lessons learned. The last one you said is probably the most significant one, is to make sure we complete the process of a final business case. The need for continuous record of decisions and actions that we're taking, I think, is also a lesson learned. And we went into this project, I think, with the mindset that this is the money we have, we got to squeeze everything into it. And in my view, going forward, it should start with what is it that we want? And if it ends up this, but we only have this, we find a way to work either with that or around that.
Mr. Anderson was asked if, despite all the challenges, the project is doing what it was designed to do.
Yeah, absolutely. I think we got great value for money for what was delivered. The success of Cayman has proven that we're probably going to have to do more earlier than we thought we would.
From 2014 to 2018, the growth of passengers through Owen Roberts was about 45%, much higher than the projected 2 to 3% per annum.
I think now we have a terminal in place that can handle that capacity. And, it's not just about the size of the terminal, because we can build it twice as big as it is now, and we might still have congestion if all the traffic comes in at 1 o'clock on Saturday. So it's about looking at ways to mitigate that outside of construction.
The $74 million project was flagged by the Auditor General for significant cost overruns and delays after the Public Accounts Committee requested a review of ongoing renovations. A performance by Cayman's elite string ensemble as they helped to officially open the Cayman Arts Festival 2021 at a reception hosted by His Excellency Governor Martin Roper at Government House.
We're delighted to host this event for the Cayman Arts Festival. I know it's been going for 16 years and probably the biggest and the best in the Caribbean, and making a really strong contribution to coaching, nurturing and mentoring our young sort of talent, as we can see tonight what an impact that is having. So from me and from all of our community, a huge thank you to everyone at the Cayman Arts Festival for what you do.
Now in its 17th year, Artistic Director Glenn Ananga says the challenges of the COVID-19 pandemic have created new opportunities to focus on showcasing the wealth of local musical talents.
Our first event next week is one we can all relate to, as it celebrates the work of Layla Ross Shire, our newest national hero and cultural icon who penned the Cayman national song, Beloved Isle.
Other events include Cayman Youth Choir Beatlemania event on February 12th and a Fringe CAF and Literary Arts How to Write the Book You've Got Inside You event at the Georgetown Public Library. For a full schedule of events, tickets, and more, check out CaymanArtsFestival.com. Cayman joins the international community in observing Data Protection Day today. Radio Cayman's Shanda Gallego has more.
Cayman's data protection law came into effect on September 30th, 2019, which includes important rights for individuals, including the right to be informed about how personal data is being used. Individuals also have the right to request corrections to inaccurate personal data, to object to direct marketing, and to request access to their personal data. The DPL also sets rules for the use of personal data by public and private sector organizations based on 8 core principles. Those include fairness, adequacy, retention, and security of personal data processing, among other requirements. The DPL requires personal data breaches to be reported to the Ombudsman and to the affected data subjects. The most common data breach notifications involve instances where emails containing personal data have been inadvertently sent to unintended recipients. Individuals who have concerns about how their data is being used by organizations can make a complaint to the Ombudsman for investigation under the DPL. Shanda Gallego, Radio Cayman News.
The Ministry of Education, Youth, Sports, Agriculture, and Lands names John Gray High School's head boy and energetic community volunteer, Jelani Hansen, as a Proud of Them honoree for his achievements.
I've seen the billboards, and it's crossed my mind several times maybe I could be up on there one day, which is why being here feels so surreal. Like, I'm ecstatic. I'm very happy to be here. I'm very humbled to be selected as a Proud of Them honoree. Many people have contributed to my growth, and I thank all of them for that. But I feel like the people that have influenced me the most are my parents. They've shown me love, discipline, they've shown me dedication and hard work, and I really appreciate them for all of that. They've definitely made me into the person who I am today.
You can see Jelani's profile in its entirety at the Cayman Islands Youth Services YouTube page. This is the 12th round of the Proud of Them program, celebrating the achievements of our youth. You can see them showcased on billboards on Grand Cayman and Cayman Brac. That is your latest local news from Radio Cayman's newsroom. I'm April Cummings.